Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
I believe it's about character. It's about who you are, what do you stand for, integrity.
The game is about life, and it's about what you have to do to pick yourself up, to make yourself the best you can possibly be.
I got a scholarship to Nebraska. I had a 17-year career with the Vikings.
It is the ups and downs of the game, the turmoil. Those are all parts of life.
It is my duty, I believe, is to get that message out that you can live with integrity, but you have to have some God in your life to do that.
I've always wanted to be great at everything I've done. I've always been a competitor. I've always showed humility. I'm a team guy.
The values that it teaches you is A, diligence, B, perseverance. There are many more downs than there are ups.
This is such a spectacular game. It's a matter of one's dedication, one's belief in themselves as an individual to achieve greatness.
The game of football has taught me faith, it's taught me commitment, and it's taught me to have a tremendous resolve in whatever I plan to do, I'm going to get it done.
You never dream, no matter how good you may be, that you'll ever be in the Hall of Fame.
Living with integrity, I certainly, honor the values of the Hall of Fame.
This is an honor bestowed not only on me, but for every teammate that I had. All of these people should be celebrated, not just me. It takes the moment from me to everyone but me.
Honor the heroes of the game.
Preserve its history.
Promote its values.
And celebrate excellence everywhere.
Critics said he was too small, too slow, and not strong enough to play in the NFL. But when Fred Biletnikoff caught 7 passes for 118 yards in his first NFL start, the critics were nowhere to be found. Deceptive speed and some of the best hands in football helped this underdog succeed in a big man's game. Super Bowl 11 was number 25's shining moment when he earned Super Bowl MVP honors. Fred Biletnikoff's 589 receptions and 76 touchdowns are not just great stats. They are a testament to a man who refused to be denied.
All right, and with that, we'd like to welcome you live here to Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we'd like to welcome you also to what we're here today, our latest installment of the Heart of a Hall of Famer series, featuring today's guest speaker, Hall of Famer, Gold Jacket, Mr. Fred Biletnikoff. We'll get into a little bit more about his career as the program goes on, but first things first, we have a lot of people we want to thank for making this connection possible. We want to first thank our folks at Extreme Networks for all the great work they do for us here at the Hall of Fame, and for schools across the country for this program and for other things as well. We want to thank our teachers for obviously opening their classrooms for us today. We want to thank our folks out there at Granite Bay for hosting our Hall of Famer and hosting Mr. Biletnikoff. So thank you to you guys. And lastly, probably the most important people we have to thank today, we have to thank our students, because without you guys, we don't have any questions for the program. So we're excited to hear what questions you may have for Mr. Biletnikoff today, and to learn a little about some of the research maybe you've done on his career, both on the football field and off. You saw there in the video the mission statement of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it was 4 points. It was to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. And for us, we really get excited about that third one there, promote the values. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And the values we're really going to focus on are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence. And how those not only make you a Hall of Fame football player, but they can also make you a Hall of Famer in everyday life. They can guide you to success in the classroom, in your family at home, in the arts, in business, any aspect of life. Those values can go with you. So that's where we really get excited today and what we're going to mainly talk about. Before I turn the program over to our guest speaker, because honestly, the less I talk and the more he talks, the better the program is probably going to be. But before we do that, I do want to give you a brief introduction on Mr. Biletnikoff to add to that video. So, if you do not know, Mr. Biletnikoff was the number 2 pick of the number 2 overall pick in the 1965 draft for the Oakland Raiders. He's a native of Erie, Pennsylvania, and he helped the Raiders capture a 32-14 victory in Super Bowl 11. I think he mentioned there in the video that he was actually MVP of that game. So not only do we have a Hall of Famer, but a Super Bowl MVP joining us today. He was known as a durable and dependable performer. He missed only 8 games because of injury in his 14 seasons. I don't know if there's a greater honor than in 1994 when college football was looking to name an award after the best pass catcher of the season. They named it the Biletnikoff Award because of all the great work that he did both at Florida State and in the NFL. In 1998, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I would like to share a quote that was from the former Raiders coach and fellow Hall of Famer in gold jacket, John Madden. For the kids out there, you probably know John Madden more as the video game guy than as the Hall of Fame coach. But he had this to say about Mr. Biletnikoff. The thing that is most impressive about Fred is that he is a man-made receiver. He has to work hard for everything he's got. Some receivers might catch 15 or 20 passes in practice. Fred will catch 100. And I think that just speaks to those values that we were talking about. So, like I said, less I talk, the more he talks, the better. So if we could all, I'm going to unmute everyone's microphones. And if we could give a warm Hall of Fame gold jacket round of applause to our guest speaker today, Mr. Fred Biletnikoff. Very good. And Mr. Blue, I had to go ahead and mute everybody again because I think they might have clapped for a while there. But without further ado, I'd like to turn today's program over to you for any opening remarks you might have to kind of get us started before we get into our question and answer.
Yeah, you know what? First, again, I want to thank Granite Bay for hosting this program today. As you can see, I mentioned the high schools that are around the nation. I want to welcome everybody from those high schools participating in this program. And, we have a lot to talk about today. I hope there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that become involved with everybody in this room, everybody across the country, anybody that's been put in the Hall of Fame, and just everybody in general about the type of character you have to have or should be carrying in your lifetime. So I want to welcome everybody, and I'm so proud. When you put on this gold jacket, and it's something that we're all so proud of because we represent the rest of the Hall of Famers and the Hall of Fame. So wherever we go and in life, we're always representing somebody. Okay, if it's your school, if it's friends, your family, whatever, or whoever it may be, and you have to really, really respect that. And you have to have respect for the group that you represent. So that's one of the things that I wanted to get out this morning. And then other than that, I want to welcome everybody, and I believe that we should go to the questions and hopefully the answers are good.
We're sure they will be. And just for your knowledge, Mr. Biletnikoff, we have schools, like I said, from all over the country. I'll name off the states. We have, obviously, you're there in California. We also have Virginia, Wisconsin, New York, Oregon, right here in Canton, Ohio, and then also Texas. So we're all over the country today, from East Coast to West Coast. And one other thing I'd like to mention before we do go to the question and answers, for any social media that you guys are using there in the classrooms, please use our handle here at the Hall of Fame, which is @ProFootballHOF, and also the hashtag HOFvalues. Once again, that was @ProFootballHOF and hashtag HOFvalues. So, all right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to the questions. And our first question is going to come from those students right there in front of you, Mr. Biletnikoff. So if we have a student ready at Granite Bay, if they could kick the program off.
I'm Ethan Milner, player of the varsity team. How important do you feel accountability is on and off the field?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, it's if you are not accountable for anything that you're doing, and on the football field, you have to be accountable to yourself before you can be accountable to everybody else that you're playing with. You have to be in that accountability. It's a lot of honesty has to be involved with it too, you know, and respect. And that's what develops everybody, is being accountable, because too many times nowadays, nobody wants to be accountable for their actions. Everybody wants to find an excuse. Football always found you can't hide. You have to be accountable. You can't hide from it, not being accountable. And that's the one great thing that I loved about football, is being accountable. In your daily life, you represent a lot of people that you're accountable to, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. That is so important, and it has so much meaning that I believe as you grow older, you find accountability more meaningful, and accountability stands out more. If you're young, you can learn how to be accountable for your actions. You have to be accountable to your team, accountable to your family, to everybody. It's amazing what that word really means, because it means so much. It should have an impact on your life always. When somebody says something to somebody else, you know, that person is really accountable for his actions no matter what. You know, he stands up and he's accountable, and he's the one that's going to be honest with his life throughout his life. And that's the way I look at accountability. I love the word, believe me. I love being accountable for what you do as a person.
Very good. All right, then we're going to head out to Kettle Run High School out there in Virginia. If we have a student that's ready with our second question.
What person in your life left the biggest impression on you to achieve your goals?
I couldn't hear it.
The question was, what person in your life maybe left the biggest impression on you to help you achieve your goals?
Oh, I believe my father, because my father was, you know, he was a tough guy. He was brought up in a tough way in Pennsylvania around the coal mines. He worked all his life as a welder. He did some professional fighting at a period of time, and he really taught me how to be disciplined. Like we said, how to be accountable. When you start something, it never ends. You gotta keep working on it and finish it. So whatever you're doing, you got to do it the right way, a professional way, but something that you're going to be proud of, and something that you have to work for, and the courage you have to continue to keep doing it to achieve that goal. Because there's nothing in life worse than if you don't have any goals. And especially when you play sports, everybody has a goal in sports, to be the best, to achieve whatever you can achieve on that field, and be the best player you can. And that's what my father told me, you know, to be tough, go after it, don't back down, have enough courage to keep chasing your dream.
All right, we're going to go then out to New York. If we have a student there at Heatley that can ask our next question, Mr. Biletnikoff.
Do you ever encounter a person who is not displaying good sportsmanship?
And I'm sorry, could you repeat that for me, please?
Did you ever encounter a person who is not displaying good sportsmanship?
And for you, Mr. Biletnikoff, if you couldn't hear that, it was, did you ever encounter a person that maybe wasn't displaying good sportsmanship? And maybe how did that affect your view on sportsmanship as well?
Oh, absolutely. You know, sometimes you don't have to search for that. It'll show up automatically. And only you have the opportunity to deal with it and with that person. That's my outlook on it is the fact that, you know, sportsmanship means everything. You know, how you conduct yourself on the field, during whatever it may be, practice, football field, basketball field, baseball field, whatever it may be in sports. You have to have good sportsmanship. That's what football is about. It's about integrity, okay? And it's about being committed to what you're doing out on that field and going about it the right way, the correct way, and the honest way. There's only one way to do that, and you got to respect the game. If you don't have sportsmanship and take it and embrace it, you know, you don't belong in the sport, because you're totally disrespecting that sport, whatever sport it may be.
All right. And we're going to go then out to Oregon, just north of where you're at there, Mr. Biletnikoff. If we have a question out there, Leslie, for our next.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Okay.
I have to double click the screen and get to my question page. Who wants to read this? Okay, come over here.
What was your childhood like? How did being the son of Russian immigrants influence choices you made and the athlete you became?
All right. And the question there was, how was your childhood? Maybe what kind of challenges did you face in your upbringing, and how did that shape who you are today?
Well, the challenge for me in my upbringing, I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, in a very ethnic town, and I was born up in a tough way. And the challenges for me at that time were in our neighborhood. If you wanted to play sports, you had to play sports against everybody of different ages. And when you hit a period of time like I did, guys are a lot older than you. And if you wanted to play any of the sports, you had to play against these guys. And it was a tough learning experience, because you had to learn how to be tough. You had to learn how to be competitive. You had to learn how to fight back if you wanted to be good and you wanted to be better than even the older guys. You had to approach the game in a different way and be a lot smarter, more intelligent. And that was the challenge of my bringing up as a kid, that always taught me, and I carry through my entire life, that, you know, if you make the challenge, and you challenge yourself, you'll succeed. I mean, you certainly will. And no matter what adversity, and there's a lot of adversity when you're playing against guys that are older than you, you're going to beat around and beat up and pushed around and not have things go your way. But it's the people that want to survive and be excellent at what they're doing that you push ahead and have enough courage to do it.
All right, and then I mentioned, Mr. Biletnikoff, that we were all over the country. But this next question is going to come from about, I don't know, a mile down the road from where I'm at here, right here in Canton, Ohio. So we got a local audience here as well. So if we could go out to Canton McKinley High School, if we have a student there with a question.
Which student? Go ahead, David. Read real loud. Oh, Devin. Okay, sorry. Okay. Nice and loud. Why don't you go to the computer? Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
There you are. We see you. Hey, all the way out here in California. We see you.
Why do you do football?
Because I wasn't very good at anything else. No, you know what? I like football. You know, football. This is what football meant to me. It gave you a chance to play on a team, and depending on whatever position you were playing, well, my position, like wide receiver, I had to be accountable for how I approached the game, to have my part in having the team have success. So I like that challenge, and I like being committed, so committed at times, probably over committed a lot of times, but I loved it because of the fact that I could help the team win and be a big part of winning. And not only that, the excitement for football with me was the fact that being a receiver, you could go out there and you can have success right away, catch a ball and it's great. You could drop a ball and you had to come back. So in football, you have the opportunity to have the next play. And it's the ones that are successful and the ones that end up being great players that can come back from dropping the ball, making a fumble, missing a tackle, missing a protection, missing a pass, missing an interception. You're going to have another chance. And that's what excited me about football. You could have all the success for 3 quarters. In that 4th quarter, all of a sudden things could turn, and it's how tough you are and your demeanor out there on a football field that if you want to be successful, you'll go through the adversity. And that's what I was able to do. That's what I loved about football.
Right. Very good.
All right.
It might have been a first for that question in this series.
I saw him.
All right. Our next question then is going to come from Houston, Texas. If we have a student out there at Youngblood that can ask our next one of Mr. Biletnikoff.
How did it feel being on the Madden?
What's that?
Sorry, what was the question?
How did it feel being on the Madden?
I think the question was how did it feel being on the Madden video game? I don't know if you
being on a Madden game.
Yeah.
Heck, I'm glad John picked me. But no, it felt good. You know, I know I was this a few years ago when I was on a Madden game, but you know, I've only watched a Madden game or played a Madden game like one time, I believe, and that was it. I'm very feeble at it, but no, it's an honor to be. You know, when John picks guys and puts them on that video, it's an honor to have him pick you.
Very good. All right, our next question then, Mr. Williams, is going to come from a school that actually is not on the screen. They're just watching, but they're from Stanton Middle School here in Canton, Ohio, and their question is, what advice can you give to a middle schooler that can help them be successful both on the football field but also off the football field?
My advice to you would be have and work on having a great personality. And every day when you crawl out of that bed every day, you know, look at everything positive and not negative. And that's how you should carry yourself through the entire day. And that's really asking a lot of much, because you're going to have negative times and there's times you're going to be grumpy or whatever. But everybody loves seeing somebody coming and seeing them the first thing during the day or of the day or the weekend or whatever it may be, that has a smile on her face, has a positive attitude, because people with a positive attitude and a great personality, people are attracted to those people. You know, and you look forward to seeing those people, and they're really somebody that makes it an up day for you. And if you're fortunate enough to have those type of people on your team, in your classroom, in school, whatever, you love it. I mean, you see that person coming and you're already laughing because you know they're always happy. And sometimes you always go, why are you always so happy? But that's your personality. So the main thing with me is having a great personality and being an upbeat person all the time.
Very cool. Our next question is going to come from those students right in front of you. So that's we've made one complete loop. So we're back to our students there at Granite Bay. If we have a second question there from Mr. Biletnikoff.
I'm Ryan McIntosh, and what was your favorite level of playing football, high school, college, or pros?
Oh, wow. I loved high school. Like I said, I played in Erie, Pennsylvania at Tech High School. I loved it because you learned how to compete. And you learned how to compete at an early age in organized sports. And I loved the competition because we had a few other high schools in the city that were a lot better than we were, but we always seemed to give them, we were always the underdog. I think I've been the underdog all my life, but it was fun to do that. In college, you get up into another level, another challenge. Right, all of a sudden you're playing against people that have a great deal of talent. You have to learn to be more physical. You have to be more competitive. You have to be more committed to what you're doing out on the field. And Lord knows, when you start going up into levels of high school to college and professional football, you better have a lot of courage. Because if you don't have any courage and be tough, you're gonna have a problem. And then the college atmosphere is unbelievable. High school atmosphere is unbelievable. And that's what I liked about college and the guys I played with in college, that I left a different part of the country, and from Pennsylvania down to Florida, and met a bunch of terrific guys from all over the country, a lot of them just from the South. So I went through a little culture shock change that I had to adjust to, which I loved, and I did. And then I went all the way across country to come out to California to play with the Raiders. And if you want to see the tempo and everything step up, and the toughness and what you could endure as far as a professional football player, I thought I saw that in high school when I was younger, and in college. But in professional football, there was a time when I first started, I was in over my head, and I just had to be more committed to what I was doing, and be a lot tougher guy, and be a lot more committed in the sense that I had to work. If I wanted to really achieve something like I did in college, and now at this next level, I was only going to achieve something if I spent the time working. And believe me, I probably worked so much that at times I overworked, but yet I felt the success from that overworking even, and I spent a lot of time before practice, and after practice in professional football, especially, as I knew the level was high. I mean, the bar was however high it was, you had to try to jump up there and jump over that bar, because it was going to be heightened on you really quick, and you better be ready for that adjustment.
All right, our next question is going to come from our folks out there at Kettle Run High School in Virginia. If we have a student ready to ask our next question.
What was your proudest moment in your NFL career?
If you couldn't hear that,
my proudest moment in my NFL career. Oh, we can see you guys there. Yeah, obviously, winning the Super Bowl, being an MVP in the Super Bowl was special to me. I played with a lot of special guys, great players, and to be part of that group, and not only that, to be able to contribute on such a level of going through a number of years prior to us going to the Super Bowl. I was a part of a team that lost the Super Bowl when I was a younger professional player, and then many times we got to championship games, and for some reason we didn't win. Maybe not playing good enough, things went against, whatever it may be. But to be able to go, and my fondest memory of being in a game was that I felt it really special to be able to be MVP, where so many guys on that day, on that special day for the Oakland Raiders, played just as well, and anybody could have been MVP. And that's one of the things I first stated afterwards, after the game, when I was talking to the news people, that it was a shock to me, because we had so many great guys play like great that day. But winning and being part of that and being MVP is absolutely a thrill. It really is a thrill.
All right, then our next question is going to come from our folks out at Birchwood there in Wisconsin. If we have a student ready.
There you are.
What was one of your greatest achievements outside of football?
Staying out of trouble. So my greatest achievements outside of football, you know what? The one thing I really look at a lot is the fact that we went through a travesty in our lifetime. with our daughter Tracy being murdered, and we started a foundation for her that's now 16, 17 years old, for adolescent girls with alcohol problems, drug problems, domestic violence, abuse of any kind, and we've continued on that mission that we started 16 years ago, and still have our foundation going, and we still have a lot of girls that the programs we support as far as drug and alcohol abuse. Seen a lot of them graduate, a lot of young ladies turn into somebody that's when they first get into the program, and watch their personality change, and watch them graduate out of the program drug-free and alcohol-free. And I really feel that that's a great accomplishment for myself and my family to be able to do that in life.
Very cool. And for any of those schools that want any more information on that foundation, please, you all have my contact information. Please follow up with me after the program. We'd love to get you more information on that as well. Our next question is going to come from Heatley School out there in New York. If we have a question for Mr. Biletnikoff.
What mental exercises did you do to prepare for a game?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Where are you? I can't see you.
Jojo, come here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
If we could repeat the question, please, for Mr. Biletnikoff out there at Heatley.
What mental exercises did you do to prepare for a game?
It was what mental exercises, Mr. Biletnikoff, did you do before a game to get yourself ready?
Mental. It's with me. It always started preparation of the week of a game, and just not only knowing what we did, what we're going to do on a game plan, but what my role was going to be on a game plan, and being able to stay, because during practice you don't get a chance to. You're running the plays, the coaches, and what you're going to use in a game, so it's tough to work on any type of individual things. You have to go out early before practice or stay after practice and just review everything that you're going to be responsible for in a game. If it's a certain route that you haven't run before, any type of motion you're going through, visualizing the defensive back, how he's going to play you, and keep that visualization in your mind the whole week. And then at the game, just getting ready in a locker room as far as, how you feel comfortable in your uniform, to make sure it's just right, that you feel it's right. And then going out there on the field, and then finding an area I always just go down in the corner of the end zone and just go through my footwork and some catching drills, little sideline drills, and just the fundamental part of everything that I'd spend about 10 minutes on, just to make myself feel comfortable. Then I'd go out on the field and run routes slowly, half speed on the grass, the routes I was going to run, or just go through the route tree, and just make sure that I liked the way I was making cuts with my feet, I was placing my feet, I was carrying my arms as far as running the routes and coming out of cuts, and then going through catching drills. And our equipment guy, Dick Romansky, used to do that with me all the time, and I'd spend 10 minutes on just catching drills and just going around in a circle. And he'd stand there, and I'd just turn my body this way, the other way, my back towards him, and just all the fundamental things that you need to do to get prepared and carry each and every week. So that's what I did.
And I would like to interject. We have a question here from one of our Twitter followers who's watching the program. So this comes from @ZiggyZay12. And he would like to know, how many offers did you have coming out of high school? Florida State?
How many offers I had coming out of high school to go to college?
Yes.
Very few. I had one offer at Michigan State when Duffy Daugherty was there, the legendary Duffy Daugherty. And at one point in my high school career, I was a running back. And then my senior year, I turned and played as a wide receiver. So when I went up to Michigan State to visit with him, he wanted me, interested me in being a running back. And at that time, I wasn't very big and strong, and that was the Big Ten at the time, and I knew the type of football they played there. And then one of our coaches, Ray Dombrowski, on our team, knew a guy named Ken Myers who coached in the NFL and was at that time coaching with Florida State University. And Ken was born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania, and he came out to watch practice one time, and Ray introduced me to him, and that's when I was a junior. And then Ken came back my senior year and watched us in the summer practice, and then at the end of the season, he got a hold of Ray, and they offered me a scholarship to come down to Florida State, which they were throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game. So it wasn't a very hard decision for me I only had two options to go down to Florida State, plus it was going to be something exciting for me to go down to Florida from Pennsylvania. So that's how I ended up going down to Florida State.
All right, our next question is going to come from New Beginnings out there in Oregon. If we have a question there, Leslie, for Mr. Biletnikoff.
What qualities of the team made the Oakland Raiders so successful?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
What qualities of the team made the Oakland Raiders so successful?
And the question was, Mr. Biletnikoff, what character qualities made the Oakland Raiders so successful when you were playing?
Well, when you're an underdog, you're always battling to be the best. And we had an entire team of underdogs and guys that could compete. But most of all, the one thing that we did have throughout our team, and we've been labeled a lot of things over the years by people as far as the players and the personnel we had on the team. But we were, number one, we were committed to what we were doing. I mean, we're all dedicated to playing football. So no matter what our personalities were, on a football field, it was the same personality. We approached it the same way. We monitored each other. Nobody ever got away with anything. I mean, if someone was not working, there was always somebody to tell them that, hey, listen, you better get up and start working, man. And that was the one thing we demanded from each other, that you just got to feel and be committed, committed to what you're doing. And we're all tough guys. The Raiders were a tough group, no matter what team, offense, defense, or special teams. We're just plain tough. And you had to ride that toughness to be successful. And obviously we were successful a lot of times. And, we had our losses also. But we were a team that could come back from adversity, from a loss, from bad plays, from a bad quarter, points down, and a little time to play in the game. We had that type of personality to overcome all that adversity and win. And that's what made us a great team.
All right, our next question is going to come from Canton McKinley High School right here in Canton, Ohio. If we have a student that's ready to ask our next question. I think I see someone making some movements there in the back of the room, maybe.
Okay.
If you could repeat that, that was very soft. Or even if you want, maybe, just come up to the front of the room, maybe, and we can hear you clearly there.
Okay. Teacher will read it. Who was the main person who encouraged you through hard times?
Go ahead.
The question, Mr. Biletnikoff, was who was the main person in your life that encouraged you when you were facing hard times?
Oh boy, I probably going back to my father, because to me he was a perfect example of working through hard times, supporting a family at a period of time where people in the country didn't have very much, and watching an entire family, including my dad, the hours and hours at times they had to work and the hours spending working to really support a family. And I took that as a strength and something that I always wanted to carry with me as far as being strength, being honest. And that's the one thing my father always told me. He says, if you're not honest and you're not going to have anybody like you. And that's where, like with integrity, that honesty comes in. If people know you're honest, they'll love you. And you'll gain a lot of friends and a lot of people that will confide in you because you're honest. And that's what my dad taught me, is just those couple things that I carry through with my life all the time.
Very good. Our next question is going to come from Youngblood Intermediate out there in Texas. If we have a student that's ready to ask out there.
Okay, go ahead. What is it like playing in the NFL?
The question was, what was it like playing in the NFL?
There's nothing like it. It's, you get to, you get to play with the greatest players against great players. You get to play in front of crowds of people across the country. Some of them like you, some of them hate you. But you get to be competitive, and you get to have a challenge facing you every time you go out there on that field. And to be part of a team and be part of the NFL playing and be able to accomplish things that you never even dreamed of when you were a young kid is totally amazing. It still amazes me still that, watching the times I watch highlight films, it's almost that I've always believed you can't be that same person on a field and off the field. I believe that everybody says once you cross over and get into the arena, you become a different person. And I became a different person when I was out there on a football field. And when I look at some of these highlights, some of the stuff, I go, oh, wow. Maybe not years ago, but, since I've gotten older, I look at things, that wasn't too bad. That was pretty good. But I love the NFL. I mean, it's just something that, unfortunately, and I mean it, unfortunately, I feel bad that everybody can't experience playing in the NFL. And that's one of the things that I've always thought about. People that aren't able to play in the NFL and how fortunate I was to play in the NFL.
All right, our next question is going to come from that live audience right in front of you, Mr. Biletnikoff. So if we have a student that's ready there at Granite Bay.
I'm Sean Bogdanovich, and I was wondering, what was your biggest motivation throughout your football career?
What was my motivation?
Yeah,
my motivation was playing. We're talking on a football field. My motivation was never to fail and really work so hard that I could overcome failure, any type of adversity, and not to be successful. But I didn't want to be, and I don't know if this, it's always sounded right to me, but I've always told myself, I did not want to be the one to make the mistake to hurt the team. I would work so hard, so I wasn't that one that made the mistake to hurt the team. And I've always lived by that motto for myself, all the years I played, because I love saying that, if you can say that you are the one that helped the team win, great. But it's tough to say I'm the one that helped the team lose. And so that is to say sort of like the motivation I've always gotten, because that always frightened me. You know, I did not want to watch a group of guys work so hard and sacrifice so much and give up a lot of their personal life to be a professional football player. Even in college, I was the same way. In high school, I was the same way. I didn't want to be the guy to hurt the team and help the team lose. I always wanted to be the one to help the team win.
Very cool. And it reminds me of a quote that one of our other Hall of Famers said, Mr. Ron Mix, who's one of our fellow Gold Jackets here. And this applies to the full field and also off the football field. He said, "You'll never be more unhappy than if you fail to do something that was within your control." And I always just thought that was great. That if you have the opportunity and it's in your control to do something and you fail to do it, that will be your most unhappy moment. I think that's kind of in line with what you were saying there, Mr. Biletnikoff.
Well, see, Ron can put it in different words. He's a lawyer. But anyway, coming from Ron, that's a great quote. That absolutely is. Yeah. But yeah, we're on the same page there.
Yeah. All right. Our next question is going to come from Kettle Run High School. If we have a student there that's ready to go ahead and ask a question.
Who's being a former Florida State alum, what do you think about the situation down there with all the players being arrested and the abuse charges they have against them?
Could you hear that, Mr. Biletnikoff?
Yes. Yeah. It's something I'm not. My association with Florida State, obviously, like you said, alumni, playing there for all those years, having success, and then seeing the program now where guys are. There's no way around it. Doing stupid things. All right. I mean, I don't even know if you can find. I would not. I don't want to, color code it. Whatever. Stupid things. I mean, it's kids. You have to mature. Yeah, you have to mature fast. Unfortunately, guys down at Florida State haven't matured, and you can't do that with maturity. And it's tough to ask somebody young. Well, you can't be immature all your life. You have to be a mature person somewhere along the line, and you got to learn that pretty quick in life, especially with you kids nowadays. It's a little bit the whole aura surrounding you guys and girls is different. You have more pressure on you, and yeah, I'm embarrassed with those kids down there. They're a bunch of idiots. That's just plain stupid what they do and go out and hitting some girl or getting in a fight or robbing some store or doing something that's, I wouldn't even think of that stuff. I mean, you got to be something wrong mentally somewhere along the line here, when you start doing things like that, drugs, whatever it may be. I mean, it's always, I look at drugs, it's like, that's why they call it dope. And that's the simplest way to put drugs. Dope does dope. All right. And I'm a very strong advocate of that, and a strong advocate of guys not only embarrassing the university, embarrassing their families, embarrassing the guys they're playing with in their everyday life and on that football team, the coaching staff, everybody. I mean, you do your actions, like we were talking earlier about accountability. Man, I'll tell you what, that's a perfect example of somebody not being accountable. Right?
All right, our next question is going to come from our folks out there in Wisconsin at Birchwood. If we have a student that's ready there.
What was your favorite thing about being a receiver?
Go ahead.
It was what was your favorite thing about being a wide receiver?
Oh, catching a touchdown pass and everybody clapping for you. But no, being able to go out there and really show off what you can do as a player, and it was only due to the fact of the amount of work you put in. And that's what I enjoyed about being a receiver, playing in the NFL. Was that fact that you could actually show on a field the work you did to play that position and show the success, and people don't have success in life. There's a lot of work involved and a lot of sacrifice involved and a lot of commitment involved. And that's the satisfying thing, to be able to go out there in the game and show that for a play, for the entire game, for the entire year, for a number of years, because that's one of the admirable things, admiration I have for guys in the Hall of Fame that I'm part of, is the fact that, you did those things not for a year or 2 years. You did it for a long time. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame, because the excellence that you showed through a number of years wasn't just made in 1 or 2 games. You had to be great for years. And that's why we're in the Hall of Fame.
And because I think I skipped them in the first round of questions, we're going to go back out to Birchwood again for another question, because I think I made a mistake early on.
We'll forgive you.
Thank you. Do we have another question from those folks out there at Birchwood?
For me? Okay. What inspired you to become involved for football in the first place?
What inspired me to be involved in football in the first place? Probably the excitement that's involved with football. Being able to go out there and do something that you want to be great at. Something that accomplishes something. Something that you can really commit to and be devoted to and sacrifice for, and find a great deal of satisfaction in yourself for what you do on a field. That's what inspired me. The inspiration was the fact that it's something that made me very happy. The work, I didn't mind the work. My work ethic was great. My sacrifices, I did a lot of sacrifices, because that was the inspiration I got from being able to go out there and play football. Because inspiration, when you can get inspired by something that you're doing and be successful at it, it's amazing. You get an amazing feeling, and I like football because it gave me a good feeling.
Our next question is going to come up from our folks out there in New York at Heatley. If we have a student that's ready there with our next question.
It's Jason. When you're tired, how is your life different?
Can you say that one more time?
When you're tired from football, how is your life different?
And the question, Mr. Biletnikoff, was, once you retired, how is your life different?
Oh, man. Well, once I retired out of football, how was my life different? You know what? You can't, and I think one of the problems all the guys have coming out of the NFL after a long career was the fact that you're never going to have that thrill again. You're never going to have that self-satisfaction instantly. It just changes you so, because here you are for a number of years, and you're with a group of guys for a number of years, and now it's like when summer camp's open, you have to go home, and nobody wants to leave summer camp. Okay, that's how professional football was to me. You don't want to leave, but everybody leaves in one way or another, and it was you gotta, if you wanted to have everything in your life challenged, if you wanted to have your courage challenged as far as working through adversity and being mentally challenged on the adjustment out of all that glory, down to from thousands clapping for you to coming home and having your wife say hello to you and give you a kiss. All right, so going from one extreme, you leave that extreme of having that total high, and your personality is, like I said, different, and now your personality has stayed. Now you have to get back into the real life, and that adjustment it's not easy, because now, there's a different world out there. While you're playing football, you're safe when you're inside that facility. Now all of a sudden you're exposed. You know, you got to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do on a daily basis? You know, how am I going to act towards this? How am I going to act towards that? And you do have a lot of resentment. You do end up having a lot of hatred. You do have to have somebody that you can talk to and let your feelings go, because that's what it is. I mean, it's like everything else. When you get your feelings hurt and they say you can't do it anymore. You know, you're no longer wanted. Well, now you got to handle rejection, because that's what it is. And so how you handle that rejection, and that's basically the one thing that really kind of floored me after I was let go out of football is the rejection. You know, that, you know, you're not wanted anymore. You know, so it's a big mental game. Getting out of football is not easy. It's a big mental game, and a lot of us still have a lot of issues. You know, you still work through now, even the age I am, and guys getting out of the game now, even, you know, so it's tough. It's a tough transition, and you have to really be strong to get through that transition.
Very cool. And I think one of the things we like to say here in Canton is, while you may not be in the NFL anymore, Mr. Biletnikoff, you are on a team that you cannot be cut from, and we're not going to trade you or let you go anymore. And
absolutely, yeah, that's one of the saving factors in my life too, is the fact that I'm in a Hall of Fame, and the team I'm on, it's like you can never be cut. You know, they can't trade you away, they can't cut you, they can't say no to you. You're in that fraternity for life, and that's you know, being able to see and visit with guys each and every year back in August, back in Canton, seeing that team that you're now part of is a big inspiration for all of us in the Hall of Fame. And it's a great buffer for us to be in there and be together as such a group that we're so tight knit. It's amazing, you know, and it's something that, you know, it eases the pain a lot, believe me, when you're in the Hall of Fame.
Very cool. And I think we're coming up here at the top of the hour, so I think that'll kind of wrap up our question and answer section. I would like to close with just any final thoughts from you, Mr. Biletnikoff. Anything that we talked about today that you think is worth reinforcing, or maybe something that you were hoping we talk about today that we didn't get to. So if you have a couple minutes, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, you know what, I really believe, and I strongly believe this. You know, it's you know, we have all these things in front of us: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence. You know, I believe from the beginning, if I was to tell a young man, what's the first thing I would, you know, give you advice I would give you, I would say the honesty you have to have in life. You know, if you're not an honest person, you know, it's like I said earlier, that's the one main thing, the integrity that you have that everybody holds high. If you have that integrity, man, I'll tell you what, you're miles ahead of everybody else. And if you do have to make choices in life, you know, and those choices are going to affect your life for the rest of your life in some cases, you know. Fortunately, some choices you can live with if you make a bad choice, and you could kind of sort of regroup or recoup or whatever way you want to put it that you have. But then some choices are devastating for the rest of your life. And the choices you make, you have to remember, the choices you make are going to reflect on the people you're associated with. And the choices you make are things that you have to help other people make correct choices also. And the courage you have to have nowadays when you're a kid, and it's not being a tough guy, it's not being a physical guy, it's having enough courage to say no. So if you're out and you're out with a bunch of friends or whatever, and they don't want to do the right thing, you have to have courage enough to say no. Because if you can't say no, you're in a lot of trouble. And just that one word will help you in life. For the choice you make to have friends, Sure, everybody wants to have friends, and we all have different kinds of friends. That's why we have friends. But having those friends, you also have to be aware of that. Your choice or your decision might not be what this guy wants to hear or what this girl wants to hear. So you have to be strong enough and have enough guts to say no, or tell them no, and tell them they're making the wrong choice. Somebody has to make a decision. Decisions you make are going to live with you the rest of your life. So that's it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Biletnikoff, for sharing the stories, the wisdom, the knowledge, everything today. So if we could all unmute our microphones and give one kind of final round of applause. All right, thank you so much. Very good. Very good. All right, and then
everybody at Granite Bay, thank you so much.
Thank you, my folks at Granite Bay. And from us, Mr. Biletnikoff, thank you for your time and taking the time to make this a priority for you. It's thank you from myself and on up to our executive staff, Mr. Baker, Joe Horrigan, all those names I'm sure you know. So I know they'll take good care of you out there in Granite Bay. And once again, thank you for your time. And this will officially end our program for today.
Thank you. Thank all the other schools. Thank you, Chris.
And then